Hey y'all, first of all, I'm here with my good friend, Miss Tanya, married to the ring, if you know who she is, and if you don't, Google her. And then beautiful Nicole, we share the same name. Yes. I learned that Nicole means victory,
Absolutely.
So I'm very excited about that. So talk to me, ladies. First, I want them to see your book. What do we have here, Nicole?
So this is The Voice of Victory in the Valley, Diary of a Breast Cancer Thriver.
Wow. Wow. So we're, and Tanya, before we start you.
And this is The Setback Fuel My Faith. And this is Married to the Ring Volume 1.
Okay, so let's get, is this on Amazon, your book on Amazon?
It is on Amazon.
Okay, The Voice and Victory in the Valley, that's on Amazon. Diary of a Breast Cancer Thriver is on Amazon, and Setback Fuel My Faith, which I've read, very, very good. And Married to the Ring
Volume 1
is both. They're both on Amazon.
Yes.
So let's get into the juiciness of this conversation. Who or what did you have to forgive in order to birth this vision? So many people have books sitting on their desk. So many people have the vision of writing. Some people are ashamed of their stories. Some people think that their stories don't matter enough to share. What would you say as far as forgiveness, or what would you say to them?
I will say that for me, I knew that there was purpose in my diagnosis. And when I started speaking, I spoke to separated divorced women. I was dealing with it. Nobody was talking about it. I became that voice. So when I got my diagnosis, I shared some tears. But then I remembered what God did when I was that, as I call, separated street and divorce drive. And I knew that whatever he did then, because everything I needed, my children needed, he provided. If he could do that, he could certainly handle a cancer diagnosis. And so I never asked why me. I asked, what am I supposed to learn from this? Wow. And I think that one of the things that I had to forgive was myself, because I didn't always move when I was supposed to. This book sat on my desk for 3 years, and in June I'm celebrating my 9th cancerversary.
Wow.
So it sat there a while before I actually moved forward.
Right.
And I didn't want to lose that opportunity to represent God, because in everything that I've done in this book, I want him to get the glory, the praise, the honor, and the worship out of my life.
Yes.
And that people would realize that when they read this, that they too can experience victory in their valley, because I would rather be with God in the valley than on the mountaintop without him any day.
Say that.
And I'll be taking your offering afterwards.
Because I just got
She wants y'all to cash app her when this is over. She's looking for cash app, please and thank you. That was real good. Miss Tanya.
Yes.
Who or what? What are you talking about for forgiveness?
I'm next.
Sorry.
Okay, so I think it's very important that in the Setback Fuel My Faith, I had to forgive myself for ignorance. One of the things I talk about in this book is, as a corporate exec and being set up in a climate that I was growing so fast in, but I lacked knowledge, meaning that I didn't lack technical skills, but I lacked knowledge as it relates to the academic portion, how to be able to relate to all cultures, how to be able to relate to the dynamics of when you're in a culture that doesn't necessarily accept you, but how to really just lay low and navigate through. Don't push through it. You can't take an old habit from a previous culture into a new culture.
That's good.
Right? Every culture you have to adjust to. And so my experience was that here it was, I was oblivious to the culture that I was relocating to. And I was the only African American at a very high level position. I didn't realize until I arrived that I was a threat, because I really never experienced prejudice in corporate.
Got it.
I felt like I could trust all diverse markets, because where I had come from, the site, they embraced who I was, and being the only African American climbing at a very young age at 26 and being promoted without an academic degree, it was a win for them. But having to really locate to a culture that did not accept that, but it was a threat, made me then start feeling questionable about who I really was.
I get that.
Who I really was. So I start making decisions that were premature decisions because I lacked diversity and inclusion.
I get that.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Did that make
So
sense?
how did you, so what piece of advice for corporate women and men, I know you're a woman, corporate person, going through that setback fueled your faith, what piece of advice would you give them if you had to give somebody a one sentence, two sentences as far as trusting themselves?
Pace yourself.
That's
Don't
good.
grow too fast. What I mean by that is conduct your due diligence, understand the culture, and then you trust God to allow God to cause you to navigate through. You can't be easily moved. And in my situation, I was easily moved because I lacked information about the culture. I assumed that the culture was similar to the culture I had just come out of.
And it wasn't.
And oftentimes, especially when you're young, and at that time, I guess you would say I was a millennial, but I'm not. Millennials are a different age, but being 26, I really thought I knew it all because everyone around me were praising me for the things that I was doing.
Right.
But what do you do when you're in an instance where now your praises are now being used as your a weapon against you?
Right. Listen, y'all, these are some good nuggets. And if you really want to know the juicy part of the book, get the book.
Yeah.
I know the juicy part of the book. So she's a dime piece, dynamic woman, both of these beautiful women. So get their books, support them. Thank you for joining me, ladies.
Sure, thank you for the invite.
Ciao.
Take care. Be inspired.
Yes.
Yeah.